But there's something about perspective. It's not just perspective. It's what level of truth do you want to live on? It's not just about perspective. It's about ascending to a different reality within yourself. Because every time you ascend a floor, a simple drawing like this, the only movement in an apartment building, in a condo, is the tenant. You're the only variable. And just like moving in an apartment building, every time you move up a floor, it's a lot more expensive. Yes? And the view gets different. The air gets cleaner. The world gets more quiet. It gets more peaceful. And this world becomes more distant. More distant. And the higher you get, it becomes more and more difficult to explain to people down here what it's like up here. And eventually you get to the point where you realize you're better off keeping your mouth shut. Am I right? I'm right. But eventually what you also learn, and it's really important, is that the experiences you have up here is that you can't live the same way you did down here up here, and you don't want to. Because you see things very differently. Now you understand things that you did not understand down here. For example, once you're up here, you see different, not just different neighborhoods, you see different countries, and you see how things work on a much broader perspective, so that you realize nothing's as simple as you thought down here. Nothing. So when you go down here and you hear them say, oh, this is the world of time and space down here. Everything on the first floor they take literally. Emotional opinions, sweating arguments, bam, bam kind of thing. That's the way those people are and those people. Everything is literal on the first floor. Because that's what you see. What you see is what you get. First floor. There's no such thing as history on the first floor. If there's an eruption happening in the country, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday or the day before or the day before or the day before. They don't care. Nobody cares. It's just them. Look at them. Okay? As you get up here, you begin to take everything into perspective. Everything. The whole history of that country, this. You start taking the world into perspective, and you realize nothing just happens. Everything breathes together. Everything breathes. And you start realizing the laws of the universe. Everything breathes together. Everybody's history breathes together. And now when you think, what's the reason why I'm sick? Well, you got a million threads connected to you. What is in one is in the whole. What is in the whole is in one. I am connected to all that is. What I do affects the whole. What the whole does affects me. Down here it looks like you stay on your side of the street, I'll stay on mine. Because it's incomprehensible to people living on the first floor that anybody can be connected to anybody. Because on the first floor, you use only your eyes and your ears, your nose, your touch. You believe what you see is real and nothing else. Nothing else. And on the first floor, it's all blood and bond. Blood and bond. It's tribal. Because eventually, as you get up on the floor, you begin to expand and you realize there's more than blood. So then, maybe eventually you get to the third floor and you think, well, okay, there's more than blood. Well, who else? Who? Then you think, okay, well, then you start letting other experiences with people come closer. And eventually, you start dismantling belief systems in you that you realize the first to go are all the belief systems that are defensive. That your family's superior, your nation's superior, all the belief systems you have that are corrupt, that are in place to keep everybody out, that are essentially there, that give you permission to attack others, to be better than others, that give you permission to do business in ways that are ruthless, that give you permission to partner with darkness. These are the first series of belief systems that on a spiritual path you have to examine. That's a spiritual path. This is the work on a spiritual path. It's not about oming and gluten-free. This is a spiritual path. The second stage is once you start cleaning out these artificial, toxic beliefs, then you start putting into place the choice of higher truths that open you to how loving can I be? Where do I need? You want to be, what's a higher path? The higher path is about love. It's about service. It is about sensing what is unfolding in me today that I need to respond to. What am I being called to do? How am I being called to respond to this human being? Am I being called to respond in any way? Now, you may think that there is an option here to do what I've just said to you, but there is no option. Whether or not you realize that this is the path you are on, by hook or by crook, you are on this path. And if you were to just stand quietly, rest quietly, and reflect on how your life is unfolding, if you were truly to go into the prayer, I'm listening, Lord, I'm just listening, you would see that the whole of your experiences with your inner suffering, your inner grief, your inner pain, your outer, trying to put the two of these together, trying to make your outer life congruent with your inner life, which is what life is, the nature of life, is that so much of it has been around this capacity to get you to make choices to become congruent. To make choices to where your inner heart agrees with your soul, agrees with your mind. It has been about you becoming aware of how powerful your choices are so that you make choices that truly reflect the person you are and what you believe. That this is what is happening to you, and one of the reasons this is happening to you is that you really come to terms with how powerful every choice you make really is. That there's no such thing as an insignificant choice. What is really true is that we are living at a time where all change is immediate and universal in our world. Do you realize that? This is so incredible. There isn't one thing, not one thing, that anybody can do that isn't immediately impacted in the whole. For example, when I was growing up, it never occurred to me that things could go on in North Korea, as if I ever even thought about North Korea, or South Korea, or other countries that could possibly affect my little home or my little neighborhood where I was growing up and going to school. I lived in a world where I believed the boundaries of my country, of my nation, were completely safe from any other nation, that if they were having a bad day in Earth School, it stayed up. That there was absolutely no way it could possibly influence anything anywhere else. When I was growing up, we had letters. Do you remember letters? Do you remember them? Okay. Remember that we would get letters, and then it was a big deal to get a letter from someone, and then you'd read it, and then you'd get some pretty stationery, and you'd write back. It was exciting. You'd wait, and then, wow, maybe 3 weeks later or a month, you'd get a letter back, unless it was someone really special. Very exciting. Well, them days are gone. Fast forward. Now, hold on. Every one of these floors requires you to stretch your imagination. We now have vertical consciousness, not vertical, but vertical. And we have horizontal. Horizontal. Well, you know, there it is, that's that word. Horizontal. All right, you get it. You get it. I'm spelling backwards. All right, let me explain this to you, because this is your relationship with time and space, and this is how you create it. This is how you experience. When it comes to time and space, aside from the first floor, where there's a watch, you're on your own. After the wristwatch people, everybody with time and space is creating their own experience. Isn't that a wild thing to think about? But it's absolutely true. It's on the first floor, we share the Greenwich Mean Time, you know, like what time does the plane come in? This is only first floor. After that, all of us are on our own. Give you an example. How long did it take you to heal the flu? 3 weeks, it took me 5. We're on our own. After the first floor, time and space become subjective. It depends on how you are working the system behind your eye as to how it will manifest in front of your eye. You following? Now we're dealing with a mixture. This is spiritual physics. We're dealing with a mixture of your relationship between the horizontal or Chronos world and the vertical Kairos world. When I do readings on you, what I look for, oh God, this is like a miracle come true, 2 sides. Okay, really, this is my dream come true. Okay, this is what you are to me. I'm doing a reading on you. Here's your ideal form. This is the ideal form, period. This is what a mystic looks like. Someone who, you know, you hear these stories that of someone who levitated, or all those stories. They're not really big deal stories if you understand the technology. Every one of them, you have to get something here. This is a universe run by law. Law. What is God? God is law. Get the idea of an off-planet, white-bearded, blue-bearded, anything out of your mind. There's no such thing. Religion's a costume party. They're great stories, but they're nonsense. Now, they're great stories. They gather their containers, but they make good holidays. But I don't say that as mockery. I love religion, and I study it with absolute reverence. with absolute reverence. But I want to position you people. We're about to enter the galactic era. Do you actually think that the Andromedan galaxy or others have a calendar that reads December 25th? Even in Rome, let me tell you something. In Rome, there's a congress going on now of astrophysicists, which is what I want to be in my new life, just so I can say that's what I am. And astronomers, not astrologers, astronomers, physicists, all these people with long names, long words, and theologians. And what they're doing is developing the fundamentals for galactic theology. Galactic, why? Because they know we're in touch with extraterrestrials. Not that we're going to be, we are. What does that mean? It reshapes the entire dynamic of what is truth. Why? Obviously, we have an earth-centric concept of God. The discovery, the admission that there is life in other galaxies, well, of course there are. But it reshapes everything we have, all the mythologies, all of them. And it is no wonder why in these last several decades, so many of the religions have come just instinctively under the microscope. But at any rate, that's a whole different, God, there's so many things. Come over for dinner. Okay. Okay, now, in the mystics, so the law, God is the system, this universe runs on law, not myth. The mythologies that we have created are a way of containing and teaching the consistency of the laws. Jesus was a teacher of law. Buddha was a teacher of law. They taught law. Confucian, the wisdom of the law. Follow the law. You break the law, you hang for it. Even if you understand law, you understand the nature of prayer. You can't pray to be excused from breaking the law. That's not a prayer that can be answered. Like overcharging your credit bill. Then you don't pray and say, God, pay my bill. You know, God, if you're real, then pay my credit bill. These aren't prayers that can be answered. You don't pray like that. You don't pray like an idiot. Okay? Grow up. You take responsibility for yourself. You know, you don't pray like that. And all the candles you want to light and all your oming and ahhing and all the nonsense is not going to get you out of debt. That's called growing up. Get it? That's how the universe works. Now here, when I do a reading on you, I am looking for where you have made choices, see, and punctured your system. You make choices and you anchor yourself into places that you have decided, here's a law, the law of gravity. Here you are, you're all energy, and it's up to you to take something seriously. Whether or not you take it seriously, to attach to a spectacle that you could let pass by and stay unattached to. And you would not puncture yourself. But if you do, you engage a law of the universe, gravity, gravitas, to make something grave that will eventually put you in the grave. But to give weight to it, and here's the operative word, weight. You give something weight. You've decided that it's serious. Buddha would say, you've taken an illusion and decided it's real. So you've given weight to it. Weight. So it goes like this. You've made it, you've attached. Here's the illusion. What is it? What is it? Could be something where you decide, I have to have that. You decide, if I don't achieve that, I'll be nothing. It doesn't matter. Somebody could say something to you when you're a child. You'll never amount to anything. Oh, God! Anger. Okay. whatever. It could be any of this. It could be any. It could be someone. If I say something to you like that tone of voice. Did you hear that tone of voice? The tone of voice in your head becomes an anchor. What tone would you like me to use? I don't know, but I've decided that tone is offensive. Which one? This one? No, that one. What? That one. That's offensive. Yes. And what made you decide that tone when you have all these others to choose from? Okay, you don't go there with me. So, your anchors create psychic weights for you. And the more weights convert to WAIT. And that's your relationship to time. The more psychic weight, the more you have to wait for everything, for all the laws to work. The laws of cause and effect, the laws of action and reaction. This creates your relationship to speed, to time, to everything. Now, let's apply that here. This is vertical. This is timelessness. This is nuclear time. This is psychic. This is intuitive time. You say it, you get it, comes right through you. This is horizontal. Goes this way. If I said to you, where's your past? Most of you would point either behind you or to the left. You actually think it's somewhere. You actually think there's a place called yesterday. Where is it? Well, it's that way. Where? It's that way. Well, actually, okay, and it's just the back of the studio, but no, it's that way. I tell you it's that way. You could tell me, but there's nothing there. But you really think it's that way. You feel gravitationally, gravitationally it's there. Because you live in a heart, oh, and where's your future? Well, it's there. Or there. But you think there, you think geographically that there is a place called Tomorrowland. That it's there, you just know it, you know it, you know it, it's that way, you know it. Because you know. But it's not. There is no place called tomorrow. And there is no place called yesterday. It doesn't exist. It's energetic, okay? Now, let me give you a different relationship. You walk in to your house. You say something feels funny here. What's going on? You spot your husband or wife. And you think, what's the matter here? And we're going to do this in vertical time, because this is how intuition works. And you think, oh my God, he's cheating on me. Because your intuition speaks to you that fast. Now you have a decision how fast you actually want to acknowledge that. Here's your meter. You see? Now, if you wanted to acknowledge it instantly, this is what you would do. Let me see what time it is. Okay, it's noon, so that I can call his lawyer, pack the bags. Yeah, by 5 o'clock we'll be done. Because instantly you know exactly you know exactly how it's going to play out. You know you will not, in that instant, it goes right to your heart. And you see the whole scene. Heart's broken, you know for a fact you won't forgive him. You know it. You know it. You know what you're made of. Deep in your gut, you know it's over. Then you drop it to the second chakra. It gets a little more frightening. Bank, money, house. I'll deal with it. I'll kick them out. First, hard as hell, but this is the way it's going to be. You just, boom. You go, pack it up. You're out of here. It's not bad. Hour and a half. Okay. So we go soup to nuts. I didn't mean it that way, but it works. That was rather good. people can't go at the speed of light. That's the speed of light. That's, right? They need to build in time. How is time built in? Let's go with the anchors. Now we turn to anchor. We start saying, I must be wrong. We start dropping in anchors, even though we know we're not. So we start lying to ourselves. We start making things up. We start anchoring ourselves to the kids. Kids don't need us. We can't do it with the kids. It must be kids. He must be having a bad time at work. We start lying. We start anchoring and dropping lies. Absolutely. And what we're actually doing are calculations for how much time we need. Give me 5 years. I need 5 years worth of lies coming right up. And then at the end, we say, I knew it all the time. But I had to buy myself 5 years. It takes 5 anchors. Are you with me? This is how it works. Now, you can pay a serious physical price for making up anchors, but this is what we do. And when somebody says to me, I can move, anytime someone gives me an excuse, they're telling me the anchors they have. And they're buying time. They're buying time. This is how we make up our relationship to time and space. When people say to me, when I look at someone and they're playing games with their healing, they're dropping anchors because they don't want to move this fast. They're terribly afraid that if I actually become healthier than I am, then I won't know how to manipulate others. I won't know how to do it, because if I am not helpless like this, then what will I use? Health is not a manipulative tool. What will I use? I don't know what to use. Let me just begin to close this down, because there are so many things to share with you. What I do need to leave you with is that every choice you make is so important. You don't have time to play games with yourself anymore, to tell yourself you are still healing what should have long ago been healed. You don't have time to keep healing your childhood. Knock it off, you're almost in the grave, some of you. Stop it. Just stop it. You can't turn around and make your childhood perfect. Give it up. Give it up. If you've already told your story two dozen times, one more dozen is not going to help you. Get on with your life. Get on. For those of you who are complainers, let me tell you, your friends can't stand it. Stop it. For those of you who think the world is all about you, it's not. It is not. Stop telling yourself you're extraordinary. You're not. You're not. There's nothing special about you. You've got to stop wanting to be exceptional. It is a burden. Who's out there that owes you recognition like that? Nobody. You've got to stop it. When you finally get over yourself, it's the greatest gift you'll ever give yourself. The greatest. You release yourself from the burden of being you, and go about able to look at your life for the real beauty that it is, because you stop diminishing and telling yourself it's not good enough. And you get up and say, what a glorious thing my life is. And you look at the people in it and you think, you're not entitled to the love they have, and look at how loved you are. And when you look at people who love you, you look and think, how could I ever, for 1 second, not be grateful in my heart for people who love me? And therein lies the beginning of a really happy life. Think, I have love, I have my life, I have the capacity to say, give me something creative today. And not look and say, this isn't good enough, because it doesn't fill me up with feeling extraordinary. If you were my student in spiritual direction and you came, I'd grab you by the nape of your neck and shove you in the toilet for 7 minutes. And say, yeah, you come back here and you explain to me why you need to be extraordinary, Missy. Because that's where we're going to go to work. Because this ego of yours is out of control. I'm teaching a course online on spiritual direction. And I have to tell you, it's very beautiful. Wednesday's class is entering silence, believe it or not. But the class is online, it's on Myss.com, and it's beautiful. The first class was Pebbles at the Well. The second is Jewels at the Well. And you can download the first class and certainly follow the second. And I meet you every Wednesday night. And what I really do know is that people need direction inside, softly, carefully. I know the spiritual journey. I've been with my own spiritual director for 15 years, 2 hours a week. You need someone to say, okay, I know exactly what you're going to ask now. You're going to ask, how do I proceed with prayer? I don't even know what prayer is. You need to be able to ask someone that. You need to have someone to say to you, I figured you'd ask that, so I've got some answers for you. And that's how I work in spiritual direction. But I thought before I parted with you that I would like to just say a prayer with you. One that I love Teresa of Avila so very much. And I learned so much from my time with her. Well, my time with her. But one of her prayers that I just love. So think about this when you are going to bed tonight. It's very simple, but it's so beautiful. Just be in your body, be in your life. Just think about being so content, not happy, content. Just think that you are alive now for a reason. And stop telling yourself that reason's a famous career. Stop it. Stop lying to yourself. Stop feeding yourself some kind of Kool-Aid. Stop it. Stop feeding the grandioseness. Just say, I'm where you want me to be. Stop looking as though there's this great reason for everything. Just recognize I'm alive. I'm just breathing. And then say, hover over me, God. Hover over me with your blanket of stars. And send my angel near me to take me out during the night. Take me out during the night. Let your angels heal me. Let them comfort me in grace. Let them wrap me in your healing breath. Let them hold me in loving energy. Hover over me, God. Remind me to be still when I think I might not be. Govern my heart. Govern my way of being. Hover over me, God. Amen. Thank you.